Hi everyone and welcome to Out There with Dean, and today I'm going to take you on a trip to Las Vegas. To continue my series of In a Morning, we're going to do a morning in Las Vegas. So this will be the perfect opportunity if you're looking to visit Las Vegas on maybe a stopover or a layover, or even if you've got a morning to spare, or even just one day in Las Vegas. It really is a city that you can get a lot out of without a whole lot of time, and it's probably a city that you don't want to spend a whole lot of time anyway. So hang with me and we'll go through a morning in Las Vegas. So what makes Vegas perfect for a morning or a day is that everything is essentially located on the Las Vegas Strip. So you don't have to really venture too far off the Strip or even at all to get the most out of the city. So really, if you start from a centralized area like we will be in this video and head in one direction and then loop back around, you can see some really magnificent sights. Vegas is known for creating different worlds and different spaces depending on what property or what casino you move from. And you can also do Vegas as well without needing to gamble or without needing to spend a whole lot of money on gambling or even alcohol. There's a whole lot more to get out of it. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to get the best out of a morning or a day in Vegas. We're going to start from the Planet Hollywood area and slowly make our way north all the way up to the Stratosphere, and then loop back and head back down towards the Luxor. So for my vacation and for where we're going to start this video, I stayed at Planet Hollywood. I find this is a really perfect location on the Strip. It's really central to everything. So we're going to start it around there for this video and for this little guide. So really you've got some easy access to shops here, cafes, plenty of hotels nearby either side. So it's really an ideal way to kick things off. In the morning, Vegas feels completely different from the nighttime. It's got more of a relaxed vibe. You can really move around quite easily without being in the hustle and bustle of things. Around Planet Hollywood, it's a great place to grab a coffee. There's Starbucks everywhere. If Starbucks isn't quite your thing, there's multiple little other sort of independent coffee shops in Planet Hollywood or even next door, but it's a really good way to kick things off. So as I mentioned, from Planet Hollywood, we're going to walk south. So we're going to head towards the Flamingo. Now, this will be the first stop on our morning explore. Now, the Flamingo is one of the older properties in Vegas, and I'd really recommend going into the habitat that they have there. Now, the habitat houses some flamingos, some real life flamingos, but it's really that first taste of Vegas providing that different world experience. So on one side of the property, you're in casino, a standard older casino, but you enter through these doors and suddenly you're in this wildlife habitat, and it's quite serene, quite peaceful. Again, if you're there in the morning, it's going to be a whole lot more quiet than if you try and go in the evening. But any time of the day, it really does create that different world for you, and really such a unique experience that you don't get in many other cities in the world. Now, you don't need to spend too much time here at the habitat. I would say maybe 5-10 minutes at the very most. You'll get as much out of it as what you're going to get out of it in that time. While you're there, you can also wander through the Flamingo. If you have a chance to stick your head into the event room, so the function room, or sorry, the entertainment area, it's quite an experience as well. It's really set up at like that old style Vegas showroom. So if you get the opportunity to go in there, there's multiple shows that are playing there a night. But if you can just stick your head in there, or even ask somebody if you could have a look around in between shows, it's really well worth it. It's that real old Vegas Showtime feel. So once you're finished at the Flamingo, it's well worth continuing north and heading towards the Venetian. Now, the Venetian is one of the most well-known places on the Strip, but also one of the most magnificent. Again, we're talking about that different world that Vegas can create. The Venetian really does a good job of that. So if you're unfamiliar, the Venetian is well known for its man-made canals, both inside and outside. So it's got a canal system that runs through the inside of the hotel and out onto the strip as well. Now, on those canals, there's gondolas, and you can experience a gondola ride like you would in Venice, I guess. They are, I think, about $30 for about 15 minutes, $30 to $50 for about 15 minutes with a gondola rider, a gondola engineer, I guess. If you decide to go on these gondolas, expect to be looked at. There will be a lot of people taking photos of you, but for the most part, people will just want to watch and experience what the Venetian has. Now, as I said, it's got that internal canal system, but the entirety of the Venetian inside is set up like Venice. So they're trying to create that different world experience. So when you go in there, you're transported out of the Las Vegas desert, the Nevada desert, into this other world of European splendor. The Venetian is also the gateway to the Vegas Sphere. So if you're going to see a show at the Sphere, or even if you want to try and check the Sphere out, you can do so from the Venetian. There's a bridge once you leave the Venetian. There's a bridge that you can pass across the road, and you get a really great view of the Sphere as well from there. But really, at the Venetian, this is one of the places I'd really recommend just spending a little bit of extra time, relaxing, unwinding. Again, like every recommendation in this video, if you go earlier in the morning, it's going to be a whole lot more peaceful than it would be if you're trying to go at night. Something happens in Vegas at around 4 p.m. or so, where I think a people switch gets flicked and hundreds and thousands of people just descend upon every single property. So my recommendation, if you're in Vegas, is to get up kind of early. Things sometimes don't open until a little bit later in the morning, but get up as early as you can. Especially try and get up when all the experiences are just opening, and you'll get the best value out of that, and the best time value, so there won't be a whole lot of people around. But with the Venetian, spend a little bit of time here, take it all in. It really is such an experience. So once you're done exploring the Venetian, what I would recommend is that you continue north up the strip. Now, there are a number of different properties as you continue north. For this video, I'm going to suggest maybe skipping a couple of those until you get to a rather large sort of shopping area. Now, this area contains a shop called Ross Dress for Less. So for those of you that aren't in the United States, this is sort of a retail clothing, bit of an everything store where they have brand name clothes that are sold for a lot less money than what they would be in normal retail stores. It's a really great opportunity if you're looking to do a bit of shopping while you're in the United States, especially for Australians. At the moment, our dollar is quite poor to the US dollar. So if you're looking to shop at standard retail, then you're not going to get the bang for your buck like you used to be able to. So Ross is a really great option if you want to pick up a few pieces of clothing items, hats, socks, underwear, things like that, even t-shirts, anything else. I've picked up an extra suitcase from Ross on this vacation, so they certainly are useful. And I would recommend having a stop by this Ross that's north on the strip. It's just like a street back from the strip. It's quite large, it's quite well stocked. It is quite crazy though. So every time I have been in there, there's a lot of people in there. So you do have to navigate a lot of people, but it's well worth it. You can really find some good deals and some good finds. And for those of us from Australia, you'll find things in there you will never find back at home. So the next part of this is a bit optional really. So I would try and get to it if you can, and that's the Stratosphere. So you can either do the walk, which it's quite a walk. It's probably about another hour north. If you're really quick, maybe about 40 minutes. But if you really, I really do recommend the Stratosphere. So possibly get an Uber from this point. So after you've done some shopping at Ross, jump in an Uber, or if you're fit enough or want to do the walk up to the Strat. Now the Strat cannot be missed. It's a big tall tower. It's really the most northern point, I would say, of the Strip. But what it is it gives you an incredible view from its observation deck. So it's one of the, if not the tallest building in Vegas, and it has an observation deck. Now this observation deck is about $25 per adult to enter. Now they have a number of activities that you can pay for on top of that as well. So there's at times a ride that goes out over the edge of the Strat. There's some other activities, but you can also do sort of like a bungee jump, sort of base jump off the side of the thing as well, which hats off to anybody who's doing that. I saw a couple of people do the jump. There's no possible way that I would do that. But when you're at the Strat, it's really worthwhile going up, having a look around. The view that you get, especially during a clear day, is phenomenal. You get to see really all of the mountain ranges around Vegas, but one of the best views of the Strip that you could ever get. It's second to none. I did it during the day, so this footage here is from the day. Look, of course, of a nighttime, the Strip is going to look absolutely phenomenal as well. I think the price does change of a nighttime, so just keep that in mind. But again, this is really about doing a morning and a day on the Strip, and I think the view that you get here and just this perspective of the Strip and how grand it is from this high up cannot be beat. It's well worth either the extra walk to get your steps up, or the Uber or taxi ride down there. It really is worth it. So if you've gone to the Strat, or even if you're going to skip the Strat, my next recommendation is to cross the road and head to Circus Circus. Now, Circus Circus is another one of those older properties on the Strip, and I think a lot of people look at this property and kind of turn their nose up at it. It's a little bit, I guess it is a little bit on the nose, but it's actually just fun. So when you walk into Circus Circus, you really get that old Vegas kitschy sort of atmosphere. And there's a whole lot there for adults and for kids as well. But it's one of the places on the Strip that does provide a live entertainment for free. So on the hour, there's a free circus show or a magic show. They will sometimes have acrobats in there. But the whole area, the performance area, is lined with arcade and sideshow games as well. The whole atmosphere inside of Circus Circus is one of just a lot of fun and that old Vegas charm. So it transports you to a world, but it's really transporting you to a world of what Vegas used to be. And so I'd really recommend it. I think it needs to be on everyone's list if you're visiting Vegas, especially if you're trying to do and get the most out of a day. Circus Circus has to be one of the stops that you go to. Other people would disagree. I probably wouldn't stay at this property. I've seen some fairly mixed reviews, but I think just to visit and to get that old Vegas sort of kitschy sort of fun, it's a must stop. So this is certainly one on my list. And this then starts to bring us back south on the Strip, so we can start looking at the south side of the Strip. So from Circus Circus, my next stop that I'd recommend, and it's a bit of a walk, but it's not too far, is Caesar's Palace. Now, Caesar's Palace is a massive venue, and there's so much to do there. So it's one of the most well-known places on the Strip as well. In Caesar's Palace, there's a surprising number of free things that you can do in there as well. Inside, you'll find the Fountain of the Gods, which is an indoor fountain that you can essentially just sit by and take in. There's always a whole lot of people there, but it's really nice and it's really something to behold. And again, it has that Roman theming all the way through. So they're transporting you back to that old Caesar Roman empire sort of feel. And then if you just go down the way a bit, there's the show of Atlantis that again happens every hour on the hour, but also a free sort of mini aquarium where they have like a little manta ray in there. They have a number of fish, a shark, and some other sea creatures as well. So well worth it. This is one of those properties that is worth it just to check out the grandeur of the whole thing. So it's massive and it's quite easy to get lost in there. I would probably recommend about 20 to 25 minutes of just exploring this particular property. Again, you could lose hours in here. There's other things to do. So there's an escape room center that's in there. There's a number of retail shops in there as well. So there's a whole lot to do, but if you're just trying to get as much done in Vegas in that morning or in that day, then maybe 25, 30 minutes at the most, just to explore, to see the different fountains, to try and be there on the hour for the Atlantis show and check out that aquarium as well. It's well worth it. So we'll continue south on the Strip. And I guess no trip to Vegas is without a trip to the Bellagio and the Bellagio fountain. Now, the Bellagio itself, I probably wouldn't recommend going inside too much. There's a bit to see, unless you want to do some Louis Vuitton and Chanel and that sort of higher tier shopping. The Bellagio is probably not a particular property I would spend a whole lot of time in. It is something to see, and I think it's one of the most, or if not the most famous places on the Strip. But the thing that you really want to see here, if you're there for the day, is the fountain show. It's well worth it. It's quite spectacular. It's been seen on many videos and in many movies, but it's a sight to behold in person. So really just jump by here. I think the fountain show is every half hour before a certain time in the evening. So if you're there in the evening, it's every 15 minutes, but every half hour. If you can try and time it so you're walking by on that half hour, it's well worth checking out. But again, I wouldn't necessarily go inside the Bellagio. You might be staying there. It's really almost across the road from the Planet Hollywood, so we're almost back to where we started, but we'll continue to head south as well. So from the Bellagio, I'd recommend then going to the MGM Park. So MGM Grand is on the opposite side. MGM Park is on the side that we're still on the Bellagio side. So while there's actually a free Lady Gaga exhibition on at the moment, and I don't know how long it's running, but I think it's there for a while, and it's really showcasing some of her most famous outfits. So anything from the meat dress to some of the more iconic things that she's worn during particular performances and video clips. It's there just on display for anyone to walk in and take some photos. If you're a Lady Gaga fan, or even if you're just a passing fan, I would highly recommend this. It's one of those, another one of those free things that can be done on the Strip, and really well worth the time just to call in. It's right there inside the MGM Park. You don't need to go in too far and just wander in and spend 15 minutes to check it out. Again, one of those things that you can really only do in Vegas, and which would make your day or morning worthwhile. So one of the last necessary or one of the things I'd really recommend doing while in Vegas is New York, New York. Now again, this is a little bit kitschy and a lot of people would say to skip this one, but I think it's worthwhile. Again, if you're thinking about being transported into different worlds, as soon as you walk into New York, New York, you're hit in the face by that transportation into a different world. So the entirety of the inside of the retail and food places is themed like Brooklyn, like New York, like Manhattan, and it's again quite kitschy and I guess a little bit old Vegas-y, but there's a certain charm about it. So when you walk in there, you're really transported into this different world, this make-believe New York world. I think what makes this one a little bit unique as well, it's the Americans or the US interpreting its own culture. So the other places that I've mentioned, like Caesar's Palace and some of the others, the US interpreting other cultures, where this one is they're sort of looking inwards and interpreting themselves, and it's quite fascinating to view, and it's quite fun. Another thing, if you're a bit of a thrill seeker, there's the Big Apple coaster, so a roller coaster that runs through this property. I've been on a number of years back, and it was fun. I probably wouldn't go on it again, but for those thrill seekers and for those who want something a little bit different in Vegas, I'd recommend it. Again, it really does complete that sort of whip around day in Vegas or morning in Vegas. So if you're not absolutely exhausted by now, because this walk has been quite a walk, and if you want to try and cram in just a little bit more, then I guess Excalibur and the Luxor hotels are experiences that you could do as well. So they're quite close to New York, New York. Excalibur, I feel, is a little bit boring, and I probably wouldn't recommend it on its own. There's not a whole lot there. Again, it's themed in that old sort of world castle Excalibur theming. It's fine, but it's not anything that's too exciting. Not at all like the others that I've mentioned. If you go next door to there, then Luxor is an experience. It's a giant pyramid. I think it's one of the largest pyramids on the planet that they've constructed in Vegas. I would say Luxor is probably showing its age, though. It needs a bit of dusting. It needs a bit of work. I have watched a number of reviews on staying at Luxor, and all of them are pretty poor. But I think it's something that I wouldn't go to Vegas and not experience. I think once you're inside that pyramid and looking around, it's quite remarkable. There's a number of experiences as well that you can do at the Luxor. So if you want to do the Titanic experience, that's there. I'm looking at some artifacts from the Titanic. Also, there's a King Tut exhibition that's there as well, and a number of different shows that you can see. There's also a pretty okay food hall that's in there as well. So if you've done all that walking, you probably want to sit down and rest your feet and get some food. Look, another optional thing is once you're there, you can cross the road back to the Planet Hollywood side of the Strip and then start to head north a little bit again and check out some of that retail. The retail there is okay. Look, it's all set up as sort of experiences as well. So you've got the M&M store there for tourists. So look, that's okay. It's always super crowded and there's huge amount of people. And there's the Coca-Cola store there as well, among other things that are along that part of the Strip, but they're two of the biggest tourist attractions. I wouldn't say that they're necessarily must-sees, especially the Coca-Cola store. I'm not sure what people really get out of that, but it always seems to be busy, so I'm probably in the minority there. But look, that's a bit of a taste of what you could do in Vegas in a morning, or this one's maybe a day. Vegas, even though everything looks really close to each other, actually, because the buildings are so big, it can take quite a bit to walk between each property. So look, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like it, so give it that thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel. I know there's a number of people watching now. Please subscribe, it really helps me out, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, bye.